I would have said skinhead is definitely a British word. I'd have put money on that being a British word. What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today's reaction video is going to be Loss of a Pond. Finally, another video. I haven't got my new monitors because the reason there hasn't been any, for anyone who's been wondering, my monitor broke, haven't been able to say anything, and now I've got this very old shoddy TV in front of me, which I might borrow, but it's messed us up a little bit. You can probably see the top of the TV in the top of the shot as well, which I do apologise, but it's only temporary. I'm going to try and record as many as possible because I want to get ahead, and hopefully this is coming out okay. If it's not, we're going to have to wait for the new monitors, but if it's come out okay, you'll be seeing it, and we're reacting to Loss of a Pond, 21 Americanisms. I'm assuming that is American things and words that British people use all the time. It's going to be very interesting as a British person myself. There's probably a lot of things I use which I don't know is American, and I've never thought about it to come over from American, but I am one of them people. I do use that, oh, that's sick. I say the word sick quite a lot, and I swear that is an American word. And like grandparents and stuff like that have always pulled me up on it, and they're like, that's so American or something like that. I'm like, is it? I don't know. It's just picking up from American TV, you know, childhood TV programs and stuff like that. So let's get straight into it. Hangover's already on the screen. Now, I didn't know that was American. I just thought that was a general thing, but it wouldn't surprise me if it's come over from American, from all like the frat parties and stuff like that. But 1900s Hangover, apparently it's American. Let's find out. Hit that like button, guys. Hit that subscribe button. And no, if I don't upload for a couple of days, it's because I've had issues with this setup. But videos will be coming once the new monitors come. And they should have been here today. So definitely tomorrow, fingers crossed. So hit that subscribe button and hit that like button, guys. Let's try and hit 400. Very pushing my belt here. Let's try and hit 300 to 400 likes for the first video back in almost a week, which is mental. Let's go.
And that's because humans finally decided to create a word to describe the appalling after effects of an all-night binge.
It is very appalling. It hurts a
Hello,
lot.
I'm Lawrence, and I'm on a quest to uncover all of the memos that Britain and America lost in the pond.
Yep.
And one of those memos pertains to Americanisms, specifically Americanisms that have made their way to Britain. Now, you might have come across this video and seen the word hangover on the thumbnail and thought, hangover is not an Americanism,
that's what I was
it's just
thinking.
an English word.
Yeah.
And that's true today. But at one point in time, that word, along with others in this video, entered the English language not in Britain, but the United States of America. For me, this is a fascinating subject because growing up in Britain, I'd often read newspaper headlines like, is our language becoming Americanized? And the truth, whether you like it or not, is that English has been getting the American treatment not for decades, but centuries.
I mean, I think I may have seen headlines like that, but it's definitely not common to see them headlines. It may be every so often someone publishes something. But again, my opinion is, I personally think it is down to a lot of TV, American culture on TV and stuff like that. And now, a lot of things come from America. A lot of things are based on America in general. So you see a lot of it. But you learn something new every day. Never knew Hangover originated in the US. What a strange thing. I never thought about it before. But yeah, learn something new every day.
And, you know, you're probably thinking, well, of course America added to the English language. It came up with words like yeehaw. And yes, it did. But that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about words that originated in the United States and are still in wide use today, not just there, but in the rest of the English-speaking world.
Okay,
first
just
up,
words,
staycation.
then.
I talked about this in a recent video. It is, of course, a blending of the words stay and vacation.
Yep.
Instead of going on far-flung vacations to another country or, you know, 2 states away, many Americans are choosing to save money by going on vacation in their home city. Of course,
you know what? I can actually see this because, again, the US, you don't have many passports and you travel a lot. You've got so much to see in one state, so I can completely understand the staycation. And I suppose it's a little bit similar. So I live in Jersey, for people who don't know, not in America, next to England, the little Channel Island. I used to live in England. But that is a very common thing because you've got to spend a few £100 just to get to England, and then you've got to get a flight to England internationally, wherever you want to go. It gets very expensive. It is expensive because you got whatever the holiday is, £200 there, £200 back. So you got £400 on top of a holiday. Sometimes it just makes sense if you're just going for a weekend or a week, just to go to the hotel and do it. And in Jersey, I think it's definitely a lot more popular to have a staycation than in England. but I never knew that was an American word. Wow.
Even in the absence of the word vacation in Britain, the word staycation has made its way over there.
Yep.
And in both countries has become a popular word again during the pandemic. Except in Britain, of course, it has a slightly different meaning. There, a staycation is a holiday that takes place anywhere in Britain. Next up, Facebook. And you might be thinking, of course that's an Americanism. Mark Zuckerberg came up with it all. But he didn't come up with the word Facebook. From the early 80s, a Facebook was a directory of names and headshots that was used almost exclusively among US college students. Intriguingly, this is how life began for the social network of the same name. As recently as the late 1960s, the word aerobics didn't exist. Before then, it was known more formally as aerobic exercise, and it took the influential US physician Kenneth H. Cooper to shorten it to aerobics. And while we have him to thank for that word, I should add the disclaimer that he takes no responsibility for 80s gym wear. I was surprised to find during research for this video that the word scam has only been around since the early 60s. And while the precise reasons for its origin are unclear, its first usages are traced back to the United States. I'm sure Americans everywhere will be mighty proud, but not so fast, because Britain might have had a hand in this nefarious origin story. You see, some linguists theorise that the word scam might have derived from the British slang word scamp. Skinhead. Weirdly, this word is perhaps used today more in Britain than it is in the United States.
No way. I would have said skinhead is definitely a British word. I'd have put money on that being a British word. Like, it's all banter at the end of the day. You got someone who shaved their head. You can't, like, you don't want to be offensive. Obviously, you just say it around mates and stuff like that. You don't go around to random people calling it. But oh, skinhead, if you're a good mate of them and you know we're not going to take offence, it's a good crack and it is part of a banter. And I didn't think that was part of American banter, but I definitely wouldn't have guessed that. I'd have said British all day long. I'd have been surprised if Americans even said it. But wow. Well, again, learn something new every day. It is the 1950s, so it's a long time ago. Let me know in the comments, do you guys use skinhead at all? Not as an insult, just as a greeting, I guess. Let me know in the comments, guys.
United States. Since the late 1960s, it's been used in a slightly derogatory sense to describe a person with a shaved head who's also part of a gang. Those days are well and truly behind me, but the word was in use much earlier in the United States, where it was used from the early 1950s to describe military personnel that had crew cuts. Who needs the hassle of long hair anyway? Oh, and speaking of the word hassle, fuss or trouble attributed to the American magazine Downbeat in 1945. Once again, its exact origins are slightly unclear. One theory posits that it might have derived from a US Southern dialectal term, meaning to pant or breathe noisily. We do not have B-roll for that. Radar is a good word. Not only is it an acronym, but it's also a palindrome. That is the same.
Oh, okay, it's got to tell me this acronym. I don't actually know what radar stands for. Sure, it's got to be something like radio, something detective, something, maybe radio. If you know, let me know in the comments. Yeah, radar, I never knew I was an acronym. Again, I'm learning so much. It's been a while since I've done this. I also just want to apologise because I have heard some static in my ear, which this TV is for some reason doing. So if there's static in the video, I do apologise. Yeah, there's nothing I can do. If you guys will see this video, you've got to have a bit of static in. Hopefully it'll be fixed soon, or hopefully you guys can't hear it.
Same forward as backward. And as a product of World War II, radar, and the naming of it, was apparently left to both Britain and America, and America's choice of radar won out over the British word radiolocation. I don't know how you pronounce it.
I'm not surprised
SNAZZY,
radar would.
in, that's a snazzy jumper you're
Very
wearing.
snazzy,
is that a gingerbread man with a lightsaber?
Again, I would have said Snazzy was so British. Like, you know, you go on a night out and someone goes, "How do I look?" Oh, very snazzy, mate. As a bit of a joke. Like, you're saying snazzy as a joke, but it genuinely means, oh, you're looking very good. And, oh, really? That's American? Oh, my God, man.
Oh, yes, it is. But when it first entered the English language in the early 1930s, the word snazzy would not have been used as an adjective to the word jumper, but perhaps sweater. And that's because originally it was an Americanism, perhaps coined as a blending of snappy and jazzy. Ah yes, Blind Date, and where I come from, this was the name of a TV show hosted by Cilla Black. But of course, in both countries, blind date has been used to mean a date between two people who've never met before. Yeah. And in the age of Tinder, that would seem to be most dates. Of course, this wasn't the case 100 years ago when the word fell into use once again as US college slang. Of course, back then, American students had to make their own fun, especially since Prohibition was in full swing. But just a couple of decades before the early 20s, drinking
believe
was
hangover is,
apparently
man.
all the
It makes
rage.
sense.
And that's because humans finally decided to create a word to describe the appalling after effects of an all-night binge. And when I say humans, I mean American humans who coined this word on the idea that it meant something left over from the night before. And never mind.
Oh, I like that. I've never thought about that before, but you're saying hanging left over from the night before. You know what? I like that. I never actually thought about that, but very smart Americans. You Americans are very smart, man.
Mind overdoing it on the eggnog and brandy. What about underdoing it on the eggs? The genus name Salmonella was coined in 1900 in reference to the American veterinary surgeon Daniel E. Salmon, probably pronounced Salmon. It was he who isolated a part of the bacteria in 1885.
Oh, wow,
that
fair
a
play.
particular word was coined that might be used to describe your reticence to eat eggs after watching this video. And that word is cagey, as in operating with reluctance. And while the word originated in the United States as a colloquial phrase, the word is widely used among British football commentators to describe a defence that's absolutely bricking it.
Oh, you know what? That's a perfect analogy. I was trying to think in my head, like, I've used cagey quite a bit. I could not think about it. And yeah, in football, we use it all the time. Oh, we're looking a bit cagey today. We don't want to give anything away. Just passing it around the back. It makes sense. I like Lawrence is a genius, man. He reads my mind and tells you all I want to hear.
Oh, look, yet more evidence of America's former obsession with alcohol. The word chaser, used to this day in both countries, a non-alcoholic drink taken to temper the effects of the opposite, is first attested as an Americanism from 1894.
Wow.
Perhaps most of us can say that we've experienced the highs and lows of a Ferris wheel. In fact, having lived in London, I've endured one of the world's most famous, but
I've been on that too. Let me know in the comments if you've been on it. I don't know if many of you would have been. Again, you don't all have passports, probably not been to England, but I've been on it. Again, I absolutely brick it when I get high up, like when I went to New York, One World Trade Center, especially the Empire State Building. When I was outside in the Empire State Building, I really enjoyed the view. Again, I've got a background in architecture, really enjoyed the sights, really enjoyed the architecture, but oh man, I was bricking it on that edge. Oh, I just get so nervous around heights.
Only one can lay claim to the world's first. Unveiled in 1893 right here in Chicago at the World's Fair.
Oh,
and the
wow.
Ferris wheel was named for its designer, George Washington Gale Ferris Jr., an Illinois native. Well, what do you know? The young'uns were at it again. That's right, the word gym as a shortening of gymnasium appears to have first been used by US students in the early 1870s. Given the weather systems of the United States, it's perhaps no surprise that the word blizzard originated here.
Yeah, and we probably use it wrong. We say a blizzard when there's like an inch of snow. You guys say blizzard when the snow's out up to your head. Like, we use blizzard, but it's not really the same blizzard as you guys. It makes sense you guys came up with that word.
While its exact origin is uncertain, the OED suspects that it might be onomatopoeic, that is, a word that sounds like the action that it is describing. In Britain, if people get carried away, they might use the word blizzard to describe an inch of snow. Sure, the word vigilante existed in Spanish long before it ever entered English, but when it did enter English, it did so via the United States.
Oh, wow.
While today a vigilante is somebody that investigates or punishes somebody without the legal authority, it meant a member of a vigilance committee when it entered American English in 1856.
Oh, wow.
The word raggedy pops up now and again. In the British science fiction show Doctor Who, Amy refers to the Doctor as Raggedy Man. But 100 years before this in the United States, an illustrator by the name of Johnny Gruelle created a series of stories called Raggedy Ann. And even then the word raggedy was old, having been first attested in southern US English since 1845. Earlier in the 1830s, it was becoming apparent that American English was going to be okay, and that's because it gave us okay. And while the word is most certainly first attested right here in the United States, nobody is completely sure how it came about. One of the lead...
What? Like, surely they were saying okay before 1830s, no? Like, okay is such a basic word what everyone uses. I feel like there's going to be like a stupid caveat in this and be like the Americans came up with OK, K-A-Y, and the British before that came up with O and then K. Like, surely they were using it before.
Leading theories is that it originated out of Bostonian abbreviations in the 1830s. During this time and place in history, many words were often comically misspelled and then abbreviated accordingly. Hence, all correct equals OK. As chance would have it, this phrase was popularized further during the presidential campaign of Martin Van Buren. His nickname of Old Kinderhook in relation to his birthplace was abbreviated during that campaign to OK.
Oh, wow.
I would say just OK.
Now that's
I'm
confusing.
voting for the other guy. Who was the other guy? William Henry Harrison. I can't wait to see what his 4 years in office brings. But from one of the most commonly used words in the English language to one of the most commonly used words in the English language.
Oh, surely not. 1820. Like, what did they say? Greetings instead of something like that? Hello. Surely not. Surely that must have been invented in the English language before America invented it. Surely.
The word hello with that very spelling originated right here in the United States.
Wow.
While variants like hollow and hallow had been around for a while. The word hello, as we've come to know and love, was first found in American publications going back all the way to 1826, when it featured in the Norwich Courier of Norwich, Connecticut. This variation on the word started to be used more frequently throughout the 1800s until it ceased to be just another Americanism and became a well-known greeting throughout the English-speaking world.
Yeah,
and there was one well-known American who had a message for us Europeans that would belittle all things America. In fact, he delivered this message while coining the word belittle. And that American was 3rd US President Thomas Jefferson. In his notes on the state of Virginia, Jefferson used the word for the first time in the history of everything to describe the unflattering viewpoint promoted by a French naturalist that Americans were somehow inferior to Europeans. That's it for this episode. Let me know in the comments below which of these words was most surprising.
I mean, there was quite a lot in there which were very surprising. There were quite a lot in there which I've used a lot. But hello, like, that's got to be the most surprising, hasn't it? It's such a basic greeting word. Everyone in the world says it, obviously in a different language, but they mean hello. That's what we translate it to. Absolutely mental. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I do apologise if there's been any issues. If I'm a bit rusty doing these reactions, again, I just sit down and give my reaction. But I guess I maybe talk too much because it's been a while since we guys have talked. I'm getting it all out my system and I've really enjoyed it. If you've enjoyed it, hit that like button, guys. Let me know in the comments any which you use in America or some you don't use and you're like, well, I didn't know America came up with that. I don't even use it. Like maybe skinhead. I feel like that is the one where it's like, I cannot see Americans using skinhead. Definitely British, but obviously not completely wrong. So let me know in the comments on that one, guys. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Let me know what else you want me to react to in the comments, guys. And like I said, if you see this video and you haven't seen one in a couple of days since, when my monitors come, it'll be back to normal. I promise you guys that. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and have a fantastic day. Peace.